Okay, so let's break this down. Here's what it would look like to be on a classic ketogenic or keto diet. We're going to make some drastic changes. You, or maybe not you, but most people are used to getting 50 to 60% of their calories from carbohydrates and sugars. So we're going to flip that scale, and now you'll be getting roughly 60 to 70% of your calories from fat, 15 to 30% of your calories from protein, and only 5 to 10% of your calories are going to come from carbohydrates. Now that's a drastic difference. As you can see, the ranges are wide, 60 to 70%. That's a pretty big gap. The same with 15 to 30%. Well, your percentage will depend on your goals, which we'll discuss in a later lesson. A real simple way to get a general idea of how many calories or grams that you should be getting from certain foods is to use a ketogenic calculator. So let's go to www.ketogenic.com/calculator. It's really easy. We're going to put in your body weight, your height, and it'll give you a relative breakdown in grams of what your ketogenic diet should look like. It's not a perfect estimate. For that, you'd need to input body fat percentage, activity level, but it's going to give you a general idea. And then, depending on your goals, we can start to play with the numbers and cater it to your specific lifestyle. One thing that I have found while going through this journey is there are a lot of people that are doing it wrong. Don't trust everything that you find on Pinterest or Instagram. I have found a lot of recipes that include sugar or carbohydrates, making them not keto friendly. So it's always a great idea to do your own research. The next thing that we're going to look at with the keto diet is making sure that we're avoiding all sources of sugar. And I don't mean just artificial sugar. I mean all of the foods that break down in the body to sugar. So that's all sources of carbohydrates. It's going to be your bread, your pasta, your potatoes, your snack foods, chips, pretzels, etc. Anything that has a carbohydrate load is going to break down into glucose once it's digested. Therefore, we must avoid as many of those sugar sources as possible. That would include any sort of sweetener as well, other than stevia, monk fruit, which is going to be very minimal, or xylitol. Also, we want to pay close attention to fruit, as fruit obviously contains sugar or fructose. I would say if you're going to be eating fruit, you want to be eating it very sparingly. So 1 cup or less, and it's best to stick to berries, as berries have a very low sugar load, and they're also loaded with fiber, which helps carbohydrates digest in the body differently. Obviously, if we are lowering our carbohydrate intake, we want to increase the amount of healthy fats we're consuming. So this includes things like coconut oil or MCT oil. MCT oil is a derivative of coconut oil. It's actually the most ketogenic version or ketogenic oil that there is. This means that when the oil gets into the body, it rapidly is converted into ketones for the body to use as energy. It's like an energy powerhouse. But I definitely recommend that if you're using MCT oil, that you start out slowly, as it can be a lot for your body to use. Other healthy fats can come from grass-fed butter. This sounds surprising, especially if you're not familiar with the keto diet. In the past, I'm sure you've been told that butter is bad. The exception is grass-fed butter. Grass-fed butter has a great amount of healthy fats that your body can use, unless, of course, you're sensitive to dairy. For someone who's sensitive to dairy, my recommendation would be ghee. Ghee is a great source of healthy fats. Other options for healthy fats: avocados and avocado oil, full of nutrients and a great source of monounsaturated healthy fats. Olive oil is a great option. I use it for vegetable toppers or dressings for my salad. Other foods like wild-caught fish, grass-fed meats. The higher the quality meat, the higher the quality fat. Eggs are an incredible source of healthy fats as well, especially if you're eating organic, pasture-raised, cage-free eggs. And don't skip on the yolk, because the yolk contains all of the healthy, nutrient-dense fats that are really beneficial for you. The protein sources mentioned above are higher in level 3 omegas, which are great for your brain and your body. And the last option would be nuts. Peanuts, walnuts, macadamia nuts, almonds, etc. In general, they all contain a really healthy source of fat. The only problem with nuts is that they're very calorie dense, so be careful that you don't overeat. You might want to have a handful or a few at a time, but having too many could be doing the opposite, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Lastly, the healthy protein source. So when looking at your protein source, you want to make sure that you're getting the best quality protein. Like I mentioned earlier, you want grass-fed meats, beef and lamb, pasteurized chicken, wild-caught fish, organic, pasture-raised, cage-free eggs. Bone broth is also a fantastic choice, and we'll talk more about that in a later lesson. Protein powder. Protein powder is an easy and convenient way to get protein into your system, but you have to watch for the hidden sugars, and they're not always made with the best quality sources of protein. As a rule of thumb, if you're trying to get into ketosis, you're going to want to avoid protein powders because of the sneaky sugars. However, if you're looking for something that's easy and convenient and protein powder is the way that you want to go, make sure that you do your research because quality matters. Now, you may know someone that thinks that they're following a keto diet while eating cold cuts and cheese. Well, that's not keto. Most cold cuts are chemically processed, and those individuals that are consuming them are consuming toxins. Toxins that cause inflammation. Inflammation puts the body into stress response, raising insulin levels, raising cortisol levels. This helps the body hold on to fat. These foods can actually prevent you from getting into ketosis. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see on social media. People saying that they're going keto and all they're eating is cold cuts and a block of cheese. Well, that's not keto. That will not give you the benefits of ketosis. In fact, it'll probably make you feel terrible. I highly recommend not doing so and sticking to a healthy source of fat and proteins, and you'll be okay.